Hey everyone, Dockwell here, and welcome to another video. Today's video is going to be an overview of 7.37e, and just like I said, they brought the patch out because I was doing my tier list. I knew it was going to happen, but honestly, it was very weird because I'm kind of joking about that, but it's so weird that they waited 2 weeks to just release this patch, and Kez came out like 2 weeks ago. And it's pretty obvious, I think, from looking at this patch that they just kind of threw it together pretty quickly because I don't think a lot is going to change. It's just a lot of the really good heroes have been nerfed just slightly. So I'll go through the main highlights. I'll probably skip the bad heroes that were buffed because they really weren't buffed very much. So the basic things that have been nerfed are all the good heroes, like I said, and one of the biggest things that these good heroes have used is Conda. That's like the best item for Morph. It's one of the best items for Luna, and it just kind of makes the damage overwhelming if you get this at a good timing and you're ahead, and it just feels kind of broken. Like when Morph goes in, when Luna gets in with those, especially the level 25, the heroes are just deleted. Like you might have 3k HP, but it's just gone in 1 second in one spell, and it doesn't really feel fair. So basically the main thing is, even though it's 100 gold cheaper, which is not much, the bonus damage from caster's attack damage was decreased by 15%, which is pretty significant. So it's still a good item, I think. Generally, it's decent on certain kinds of heroes, but it's just not completely broken where you're just deleting people. Then Alchemist has been a pretty good hero, and they're really just buffing this Mixologist facet because no one really picks it. Everyone just picks the other one. And then they're kind of just nerfing his 2 spells that he uses in lane to make his lane not crazy. Anti-Mage, not a big deal. Axe, they're nerfing him again. He was pretty good, and they nerfed one-man army before. Now they're nerfing it again. I still think it's pretty good. I still think you're going to get this one over the other facet. And then the slow on Battle Hunger was nerfed a little bit too. Again, not crazy, but enough to make the hero just a little bit worse. Bane, ridiculous change, makes no sense. Batrider, I thought was an okay hero, and they buffed it, which is weird. Beastmaster, a hero that was pretty good, and so they just nerfed the drums again. I think they nerfed it once before and they nerfed it again. So maybe the build with the, going for the, I think it's the Wild Hunt or something, the one with all the creeps and the Helm of the Overlord, maybe that's the one to go now. I mean, this is not a huge nerf, but it's significant in some ways. I mean, 5 damage, whatever, but it's just hard to say. Then Bounty, I'm actually surprised because this is the hero that's been the best hero, like banned all the time in every pro game. Really, the only nerf is just mana cost. Now, this hero is mana starved a little bit, but still, that's not a significant change. Level, 4, it's only 10 mana. Early on, it's 10 mana. Like, I don't know. It just seems to me like that's not a huge change for one of the best heroes in the patch. Brewmaster, small buff. Bristleback, again, small nerf. Like, this cast range is significant. You're not throwing it across the entire screen, but is that really going to make a difference for the hero? I don't know. And then Clockwork, another good hero, which I think the cogs are the main thing that's kind of broken on the hero, but then they just make the farming with battery salt a little bit worse, which is like kind of whatever to me, because I don't think it was a good buff, obviously, but it's not like the biggest reason that the hero was good. Dazzle, small buff. Disruptor, small buff. Earth Spirit changes, which make this hero definitely, I mean, obviously it's a nerf, especially this Boulder Smash where he's not going to be farming creeps in like one shot anymore. But again, these talent switches, I'm not really a huge Earth Spirit player, so I can't tell you how significant these are, but they are just enough nerfs to make the hero a little bit worse. Elder Titan, this one's a little bit weird. I don't really know why they did that much. Maybe someone in the comments can tell me. Enchantress I thought was a good hero. I just didn't know that she was like broken, and they nerf Enchant and Nature's Attendance a little bit, which is interesting, especially for the laning stage. And then Enigma was a pretty good hero, so now they just made the demonic summon, the gold bounty for the Eidolons increased, which I think that always should be good. I just hate when these creeps that people spawn, that these heroes spawn, just give no gold. It feels terrible when that happens, because it's like, I could kill these things, but they don't really give me any gold, so what is the purpose? It's just very annoying. Grimstroke, a buff, but weird. I mean, what is this? Improved behavior when casting at max cast range. Just like, what? And then Gyrocopter, mana cost rescaled. Again, this isn't that big of a deal, but for the laning stage, it can be significant. EMP, I'm not an Invoker player, but that, like, when it was drawing you in, it just felt like you couldn't escape it. So that 15 or that 25 reduction in that speed, I think is significant. And then Cold Snap, whatever. Jakiro, small change, not a big deal. Jug, I mean, it's honestly insane at this point that Blade Fury level 1 is 42 seconds, now 36. Even that is kind of insane. I mean, this hero just needs some love, I think, because so many other heroes get so much love and like so many different abilities and all this stuff. And this hero, like level 1, you can only cast Blade Fury once a minute. It's like crazy. Now it's once, like twice a minute, but still. Then Kez nerfed again, which is kind of crazy. I mean, this hero is good. That's the thing. People are just like, oh, this hero's not good. Dude, this hero is good. I'm telling you it's good. And again, it's nerfed to just be a carry, I think, because early on, or at least a carry or a mid, because the early damage is nerfed, and then the later damage is buffed, actually. And then Grappling Claw, overall, the lifesteal is nerfed, which this was kind of insane. You could, like, regen half your health with this Grappling Claw, which is kind of crazy. So it makes sense. Legion Commander small nerfs, kind of like Axe where they nerfed it once and now they're nerfing it again. But this is just the shard, so that's significant but not crazy. Lich was one of the best supports, and so they nerfed Frostbound. But again, I don't really think this was like that big of a deal. It's really more the shield and the fact that you even have the shard and you're like all this bouncing. I mean, this is good, don't get me wrong, but it's not amazing. Lena, small buff, not a big deal. Lion, why even do that? That's literally a meme. Luna, this is weird because Luna's been one of the best heroes, and now this like bonus night vision, I mean, whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good, but this is not like what makes the hero broken. And then the talent changes are pretty significant because now, like before, you would get the extra Lucent Beam damage, and then you would also get the Moonglaves fired with your attack damage, then bouncing. That did a lot of damage. Now you just don't get the Moonglaves bouncing at all, and then level 20 you can get more damage, but that just overall decreases the damage when you're casting your Lucent Beam. So I think this is a decent change, but at the same time, I mean, yes, Kondo was nerfed, but still, now you even have more damage here than before when you take this talent. So it seems kind of like small, significant, but small. I don't know if that's really going to kill the hero. Lycan, kind of small change there, not really going to pay attention to that. Medusa, another really good hero. This Venom's Volley was kind of annoying to deal with, so illusions don't apply it. Scales was split shot. The move slow is now decreased early on, and the attack speed slow rescaled early on. The thing is, when it's maxed out, it is still good. So it's mainly a laning stage thing, which is kind of interesting. And then the biggest thing is the mana shield was nerfed, which is good. And then the split shot outgoing damage was nerfed. Now only by 5%, but every little percent matters when this hero is like in a team fight hitting a lot of different heroes. I mean, 5% adds up over every hit. So that can be kind of significant. And this is also one of those things where it's just a feel, because like 2% or 0.2%, or 0.2, how much does that really make the hero less tanky? It's hard to say. Like maybe it just does nothing and the hero's still insane, or maybe it makes it a lot less tanky. I mean, you could tell by maybe percentages, but it's one of those weird things where it's a lot of times a feel thing rather than just a straight math thing. And then we have damage immunity duration decrease. That's kind of 0.1 second, whatever. That's a little bit of a meme. Like it makes it harder to dodge, but whatever. Muerta, I think they've nerfed the calling slow like 1,000 times. It feels like they just keep nerfing the same thing on every hero a million times. Not that I disagree with that, but they're doing it again, which is interesting. Well, the thing is, early on, first level, it's better, but still. Naga, one of the best support heroes in the game right now, but not really in pubs as much, I feel like. It's more of just like a pro meta thing, so they're nerfing that in general. But again, I don't think that's something that most people care about. Then again, this Nature's Call where you have this one giant tree, that again is getting rescaled where now it actually gives a good gold and XP bounty, which makes sense because before it would take a million years to kill it and what, you got like 20 gold or something? It was just terrible to even try to kill it. It was just felt like a waste of time, but you had to because it would just delete your towers. OD, unironically, this could be like kind of an insane buff. This hero is just like a pub stomping insane hero. When it gets good, it just owns pubs, so be on the lookout for that. I mean, it's a small buff, don't get me wrong, but still, that can be significant. Like that 0.5 there, that's 25% of what this did before. Pango, they're just kind of nerfing the turn rate on there, which that's another thing that's just like a feel. Like, can you actually hit the same guy a million times, you know, without actually having to bump into something? Hard to say. That's more of a feel thing. You have to actually test. PL, this is the buff I was talking about. No, I'm just kidding. It's a significant buff, but not really significant for the hero. It's not a big deal. Primal Beast, some nerfs here. Again, I don't think that's a huge deal, though. Actually, hit damage on the last level is better. So, I mean, that can actually be a buff later in the game, and this hero is pretty good. Puck, small. Not actually small nerfs. I mean, this is one of the big things that made this hero good. So nerfing it by, you know, 0.5 is significant. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know how big of a deal that is. It's hard to say. Again, it's one of those feel things. I still think the hero is good, but a little bit less good. This is one of those where Queen of Pain, I don't actually think this nerf did much at all. 1%. You know, you take 1% more damage, you have 1% less spell amp. Is that really going to do anything? I don't think so. And then 1 less strength. I don't think that's really, this hero is not really nerfed in my eyes. Then Ringmaster, they gave him an Agnum Scepter, which actually replaces the Escape Act with 2 charges. And now when the box opens, it deals magic damage to all enemies in a radius and throws 8 Impalement Art daggers with 50% range in all directions, which is pretty good. It's hard to say, like you get 2 saves basically, that's the big thing, and you have some kind of like return magic damage, which is interesting. I mean, I don't know if that's like worth all the money, but saves are always going to be good. So now you can just save people twice in a fight. That's kind of insane to think about in some ways. It's just hard to know whether that is worth like buying an Ags for, you know. And then Spotlight, kind of a small buff there, I think. Or actually, no, a nerf, I think. Which is interesting, because this hero, I feel like no one ever plays it. I don't know. But now it summons 3 separate spotlights, each sweeping independently. I just don't know if this is like better or worse. I think it's definitely worse, but I don't know. Sand King, small nerfs here. Definitely needed some nerfs. The damage is a little bit worse. The Sand Shroud duration was decreased, which this was honestly, this might be a big thing though, because max level, that's 7 seconds. It felt like you had it up constantly. Now you actually have it down some. There's like periods where you have to be careful because you don't actually have your Sandstorm up. So that's interesting. Shadow Demon kind of nerfed everything across the board for this hero because it was really good right now. So everything is just early on just not as good, I think. I mean, 60 seconds is good at the end, but you know, when it's max level, but just in the beginning of the hero isn't just spamming all the spells off cooldown. Then Shadow Fiend. This is another hero that's like broken. I don't think they really changed too much of the brokenness of the hero. In fact, they almost like buffed it. Because, yes, you could respawn or whatever and still have those stacks that you got. And yes, the Necromastery damage per soul is decreased like by 1 at the last level, which is slightly significant. But the thing that they did now is they actually gave Feast of Souls a real like way to be leveled. Like you could actually level this and use it now. Because it increases your souls by 5. So if you hit creeps and then you increase it by 5, I think it spends those 5. Yeah, soul cost 5. So you can like spend those souls and get those souls, you know what I mean? So you can do more damage. So it just like makes it maybe worth actually getting and using now. And the attack speed is not insignificant. I mean, bonus attack speed 90, that's kind of insane. So I don't know, this hero might even got buffed slightly, which is weird. Shadow Shaman, not a huge deal right there. I mean, it is an okay hero, but not really in pros. Storm Spear, really the only change was they fixed that bug that I was talking about in my tier list, where the overload procced an extra time when using the shard. That was kind of, it just procced twice and it wasn't supposed to do that, so it was doing insane damage. Sven got some love, but I don't know if that's really going to make the hero good. Terrorblade, they definitely nerfed Reflection because it needed to be. We'll see if this hero still is able to be an offlaner. I don't know. Like, Reflection was so broken that people were using it and then just buying Pipe in the offlane, and I don't really know if that's viable anymore. We'll have to see. Tide, this isn't really going to change the hero. Treant, again, what? That's like, stop it. Tusk, I mean, maybe that's a significant nerf. It's hard to really say. I mean, this attack speed slow is significant, so don't get me wrong, that is important, but I mean, this is a good hero. Undying, I don't know if that's a big deal. Veno, I don't think that's really a big deal. Visage, this is definitely a nerf that was needed, but I almost think it needs to be nerfed more. I mean, 5 gold, every little bit counts, but that's not a ton. Warlock, not a big deal. Witch Doctor, not a huge deal, but I mean, it does make your like self-save a little bit worse, which, you know, just doesn't allow you to do as much damage and survive as long, which can be significant. And then Wraith King, this hero needed a buff, so they buffed it with 2 armor, lifesteal decreased. Actually, what? That's weird. Base armor increased by 2, lifesteal decreased, critical damage rescaled. Wait, they nerfed it? I thought it was... I mean, this hero wasn't bad, don't get me wrong, but... Dude, that's so weird. I thought for sure when I read this first that they buffed the hero. Like, I just kind of skimmed it. But now I'm like, base armor increased by 2, that is a buff, but then lifesteal decreased, critical damage rescaled. And then Dude, that's so weird. Was this like a menace in pubs or something? I don't understand what's going on here. This is a weird one for me. But the other weird thing is like they didn't nerf Dragon Knight. There's probably some other heroes you can think of that they didn't really nerf. Oh, they didn't really touch Dawnbreaker, I think, because that was like almost like a merging. Yeah, didn't touch Dawnbreaker because that was a hero that was coming into the meta recently, and they kind of maybe just skipped over it, didn't realize it was becoming such a good hero. So yeah, interesting that they kind of skipped some of these heroes that are really, really good and then like nerfed Wraith King. I don't know. Very weird. But anyway, that's the patch, guys. Hope you liked the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all those kinds of things. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.